Hi, Otis Bradley here. Welcome to 50green.com. Today we are looking at the question of why green building. Warning, the following presentation is X-rated. Be prepared to feel sick to your stomach. Sorry, but that's my best movie voice. In my opinion, we've really got three major converging events that are important with regards to green building. One is the rising level of carbon dioxide. Two is the huge global energy demand. And three is the exploding population growth. Let's take a quick look at each of these issues. Okay, CO2, carbon dioxide. So what is global warming? We could define it as a warming of the Earth's atmosphere through the burning of fossil fuels, which largely creates excess carbon dioxide as well as other gases. Is it real? Well, there's obviously a huge amount of discrepancy. You still hear lots of people say that it's just a big farce. But let's take an example of the Northwest Passage. For centuries, explorers sought the Northwest Passage route for trade from Europe to Asia. And in August of 2007, for the first time, it was open without icebreakers and continues to be open each August. Scientists actually forecast that by the year 2020, the global ice cap won't exist. Now, if you look at this is a NASA satellite photo, right? So we've got one here in 1979, one here in 2007, about 30 years apart. Here's the edge of the global ice cap, 1979, and take a look at it here. If I was able to take that line and transfer it over here, it would be something like, let's see, right under that little lump there, right? Kind of comes down, does something like that. So this represents about a 30% decrease in that global ice cap. And you can see here, this is the Northwest Passage, which in 2007 is clear. Well, if you were Christopher Columbus, that would be a phenomenal happening. For some reason, we don't think much of it today. So what is ppm? ppm is parts per million. That's a measure of the concentration of gases in our atmosphere. And throughout human history, 275 parts per million carbon dioxide has been about the average. Currently, we're close to 390, and most experts say that we want to get it back down to 350. The Earth's atmosphere is a delicate balance of gases, and you can see here it's largely comprised of nitrogen and oxygen. About 78% nitrogen and 20% oxygen. There's the CO2. You can see 383. That's the parts per million. 383. There have been times in the Earth's history when oxygen levels were about 35%. Completely different. And of course we had much larger animals and gigantic plants and a totally different kind of Earth back then. But this little balance here, 20%, 80%, is quite delicate, and this rising level of CO2 as well as some of these other gases here disrupts this balance. This is an interesting graph, also sometimes called the hockey stick graph, but if you look at this, this is in thousands of years. 400,000 years to current time. If we took sort of a median level here, we'd end up with somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, 230 parts per million carbon dioxide. Well, this little slice here represents modern history, and that's where the 275 average comes in. Until just look here, the beginning of the Industrial Revolution in the 1700s. Look how this ramps up dramatically. Okay, so what are some of the results of global warming? Well, increased heat, temperature rise, increased sea level, which has a major effect on the global population, since a large percentage of us live close to the seashore. Increased disease and pestilence, also unusual weather patterns and catastrophic storms. Alright, so let's take a look at the energy picture. That's the second part of these converging events. And to do so, we'll use a convenient term called quads. Quads are a way of measuring global energy usage. So what is a quad? A quad is 10 to the 15th power. There it is written out. That's a quadrillion. All right, so if you looked at, there's a million, right? There's a billion. There's a trillion, and that's a quadrillion. So I won't read all of these. You can take a look at them if you want, but here is 8 billion gallons of gasoline, 36 million tons of coal. Each of these things equals one quad or one quad unit of energy. And here's what our global energy consumption looks like. Here we are in 2010, currently using about 508 quads of energy. And look at 2030, and you'll see 678 quads. That's a 33% increase in 20 years. Interesting slide here, shows you some of the fuels that create those energies. Liquids, this is oil, essentially, coal, natural gas, and here we have renewable energy and nuclear energy on the bottom. Notice what small percentage the renewables are compared to oil and coal. This is another interesting slide of U.S. energy consumption. So here's the whole pie, right? Oil and gas, or oil, natural gas, and coal represent almost 75% of this. There's nuclear power, about 9%. And renewable energy is only a tiny slice, 7% of that whole pie. Okay, let's look at the third major event, people on the earth. Check out this world population graph. Okay, look at 1960 here. 3 billion people. 40 years later, we're at 6 billion. Population's doubled. By the year 2040, 30 years from now, that will increase another 50% to 9 billion. That's a 28% increase from today in 30 years. Consider these facts. The United States consists of, actually it's more like 350 million people, but we are 5% of the global population. We use 25% of world energy. Look at China and India combined. Call them Chindia. 2.5 billion people, 37% of the global population, and they use almost 20% of world energy. But an astonishing fact is that's up from 10%. It's doubled since 1990. So we're talking 20 years. This energy consumption has doubled. What do you think that will be like in the next few years? Global population. Here's the USA. 5% right here. This is like a little tiny slice of the pie. And here is China, India. And here's the global energy usage. Here's the USA again. Our tiny slice of the pie has a big chunk, several helpings of dessert there in the energy pie. And China, India, uses less than we do, only 20%. So think about what's going to happen over the next few years, over the next 20, 50 years with this piece of pie. So why green building? Data from the U.S. Energy Administration shows that we use approximately half of our energy goes to building usage. Now, I think the proportion of residential is 30%, 40% of this. In summary, we've got this rising concentration of CO2. We've got skyrocketing energy demands. We've got exploding population. What can you do? Well, you can change your light bulbs and you can use reusable bags when you go to the grocery store. Those things are obviously good things. But is that going to change the life of your grandchildren? You can sit around looking for unobtainium. If you saw the movie Avatar, very interesting environmental green message in that movie. They were searching for unobtainium because the people on Earth had burned through all their energy supplies, and this was they had to fly to different universes to collect this incredibly valuable rock and bring it back for their energy. Maybe we'll find unobtainium somewhere. You can use your big lever, and this is a really interesting point. You can change your light bulbs and you can start using reusable bags, but think of where you can, what your fulcrum, where you can get that big lever so you can move something that's even bigger than yourself. A couple of ideas. One, can you make your home 50% more efficient than it is now? Can you gather up all your electrical, gas, water bills, figure out how much you use, and make a goal of increasing the efficiency greater than 50% of what it is now? It's surprisingly achievable in many homes built between World War II and 1980. How about the big lever? Do you know somebody who owns a company? Can you get them to start to think about implementing some green policies? Or can you put pressure on a big company to make it more green? Where else do you have a big lever? Maybe in your own community. Instead of just doing your own green things, take a look at starting a green community. It's actually not that hard to get this going. Get out, talk to the school people, talk to the local city or town government, and see if you can organize a grassroots green community within your community. It's amazing what many towns have done with this idea. You can also check out 50green.com. We have all kinds of webinars. You're probably already watching 50green.com if you're looking at this one, but please check out our site, 50green.com or 50green.com/blog. And we have tons more information. We also have classes on green building, advanced classes, and interesting webinars on other green homes, other green types of home building. Check us out. Thank you very much. This is Otis Bradley signing out.